Fucking, this is supposed to be.
They smile so much with their flags. She's alluded to the military band. Most of the people failed to see she had a broken bottle in the other hand. And she took them by surprise. She took them by the throat. And said, my friends, you're not allowed to vote. Ooh, but they shook it all off with a nervous laugh and cough. Next time she said, I'll let those people joke. The people who grin themselves to death smile so much they fail to take a breath. And even when their kids were starving, they all thought the queen was charming. The people who grin themselves to death smile so much they fail to take a breath. And even when their kids were starving, they all thought the queen was charming. She polished all upon the wall and ran her hands right through her hair. So if the lady took the time to call, all the houses on the street would not compare. And she thought it really funny that she hadn't any money, but those she looked up to, they had. Ooh, but they shook it all off with a nervous laugh and cough. And when they took her riches, it was sad. The people who grin themselves to death smile so much they fail to take a breath. And even when their kids were starving, they all thought the queen was charming. The people who grin themselves to death smile so much they fail to take a breath. And even when their kids were starving, they all thought the queen was charming. The people who grin themselves to death smile so much they fail to take a breath. And even when their kids were starving, they all thought the queen was charming.
And good evening and welcome to Raconteurs News. Can you hear me, Jim?
I can hear you just fine, Jay.
How you doing, my old friend?
Doing really good, mate. It's cool to be back after a 1 week unscheduled vacation.
It's your fault, man. It's your fault. It weren't me, was it? It was you.
Next time, I promise. Next time,
I go away for 1 week. You fucking break my channel, you bastard.
I promise next time I'll book in advance, right? So we don't get a mandatory vacation.
Hey, listen, I don't mind time. I don't mind extra time off. I don't really. Anyway, good evening. Welcome to Raconteurs News. It is Tuesday, the 13th of September, 2 days after 9/11 anniversary, 21 years. And it's here. It's Raconteurs News with Jason and Jimmy. I do apologise to everyone. Show some respect, for fuck's sake, says Roger Myers. All right, I will do. We're showing loads of respect here. We're showing tons and tons of respect to the right people. But anyway, it's been a weird fucking time, hasn't it? It's been a weird, even for this fucking whatever the fuck we're on. It's been a fucking weird old few days, hasn't it, mate?
It's crazy, lad. It's crazy. I'm just like, it's like somebody was at the birthday table and flipped the cloth really bad, and everything's got turned upside down and left sitting smashed on the middle of the table. You know, it's nuts what's been going on. Absolutely nuts.
Absolutely fucking nuts, yeah. Good evening to everyone who's in chat room. Chris Partridge, Bandit Buster, Uni Black Sisters in there as well. Spanish Chicken, Mascara Snake, Kitty. Tony's probably going to be in there. Dinny as well. Dinny, I had a phone call from Dinny other day. I will give you a brief update on Super Leads to everyone, just so that I can get this out of the way. He had last week. He was found unresponsive in his wheelchair, and he's been in hospital ever since. I was going to go. I was going to go and see him yesterday, but I couldn't. I couldn't last night because there's two people to a bed, to visitors at a time, and it took a turn for the worse, and they didn't know whether they were going to make it through that day. So I didn't go, because obviously family and people want to go and see him, and it's more important for family to go and see him. But I've had a text message tonight from Jill, his girlfriend, and he's been talking to her, and he's been more alert, he's been more awake. He's still in a bad way, but I'm going to go and see him tomorrow night. I'm going to be there about 6 o'clock to go and see Super League. So that's where we are at the moment. I can't really tell you very much more than that. But that's where we are, and I've started off with that because that's more important than the other thing that happened last week, innit? Well, to us it is anyway. To people, it's more important to everybody that people that they know are well, and we're more interested in those that haven't been blessed with fucking all sorts of shit, and then they go, "Oh, I get all my life up for fucking this country." Yeah, you fucking did, didn't you? Fucking late fucking life. Never wiped your own fucking arse in any time. Anyway, before I get, I mean, people have been arrested in this country for holding a sign up saying "End the monarchy" and all that sort of shit. So
crazy, isn't it?
I really, although I will say this, on Thursday, me and my missus caught the telly. We put the telly on when we realised what something was going on, and then there was this picture of Aberdeen Airport, and they were waiting for a private jet to come in and land. This was before they'd announced that she died. She obviously died before that, but this was before she announced. And they were watching for the private jet coming into Aberdeen Airport, and I thought to myself, one good crosswind here, and we're, because it had loads of members of royal family on it, and I thought, one good crosswind here, and we're in a fucking King Ralph situation, you know, and that would be far more interesting than fucking sausage fingers just getting his hand on crown immediately without doing anything. But that's my little two penneth worth. I've got about the Queen. I've got nothing to say, because if you can't say anything nice, you shouldn't really say it at all. But I'm sure we will say things about her. Well, just about around the circumstances and royal family, essentially. as a whole, as an idea, rather than the individuals. I don't know what's it been like in Ireland, Jim.
Regarding this big
Yes.
upset in the. Oh, do you know what? I don't have a clue what's going on in Ireland at the moment. It's Ireland is just like an NPC as far as I'm concerned. Non-playing characters. The whole place is full of them. I'm pretty sure an awful lot of people are probably delighted that she's passed and probably have no understanding of why they'd feel that way. Like I think personally, it's a bad day for us. It would have been better if, as you call him, Fat Fingers himself had gone first. You know. But anyway, it is what it is. So. I'm not so sure her passing is a good thing now. She should have probably held on for another 10 years, and she might have actually outlived King Charles III, he's now known.
Yeah, I did see. I did see one or two little things. I did see that if you look at the picture that I put up, that was at the beginning. Not with the fucking one that goes on at the fucking front. I put that up, and it was from an article that we're talking about Prince Charles. So it was obviously from a while ago, but they were talking about his sausage fingers on it. That the people were wondered about his health, because we're worried about his health because of his sausage fingers. But who knows? And I also saw a very, very moving article today that said that the Queen's beekeepers had to tell the bees that the fucking Queen was dead. Fucking hell.
And there was another.
Imagine having to do that.
There was another interesting meme about it had like the Queen's corgis all with surprised looking faces when they got the news that Andrew was going to be minding them.
Yeah, that's fucking It has about fucking putting me down now, mate. Fuck that. Fucking hell. Although I did see a video of Prince Andrew and his daughter, and something about his hand, and I just thought it was just something that was made up out of no, you know what I mean? And whether he's just brushed there, because I can't see him feeling her up on fucking while he's looking at.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we just take a little quick look at it, and we can decide for ourselves then? Because this is actually one of the things I had brought up for that. So I'll just clear that last screen share that I had, and we'll go to. So we're just going to allow this, and we'll just have a quick little look and see what the story is. Oh, but yeah, there's no need for sound. There's no need for sound on this, but.
You see, I think he's just to me that I don't know. I know it looks sick, and what we know about Prince Andrew, what we suspect about Prince Andrew, it does. Yeah, if someone says it is creepy as. It's right. It is creepy, but I don't know if we should be putting too much credence in it. But yeah, he can't help himself, says Robert.
Those fingers looked like they were going a little bit the wrong direction when they started coming down between her thighs there. You know, I just thought those fingers were looking poised to take a dive. You know.
Chris Partridge says, "Who's the woman?" Well, that's his daughter. That's one of his daughters, isn't it? Either Beatrice or Wee Jeannie or Wee Horse Jeannie.
Yeah.
Well, they say that the Queen died of her father died of lung cancer. So what's the big secret? She probably just died of old age. I don't know. That's what they're going to say. You see, you've got to have. She's become this mythical figure now. She's going to become this mythical figure, you know, and it's only going to escalate from here. And Jason, did you cry when the Queen died? Yes, of course I did, Uni. Fucking Uni asked the stupidest questions, doesn't it?
Yeah. You should just stick to asking sup, and we're on track with Uni. So sup Uni, sup Uni.
Not as creepy as Biden sniffing girls' hair, says Mascara Snake. Yeah, again, both creepy. I don't know. I just like to reserve judgment on that, but Yeah, tears of joy, says somebody.
Did you-
No, I didn't shed a tear. For me, as far as I were concerned, that's nothing to do with me. It's none of my business. Not that is none of. It's none of. If someone wants to, I don't want to. What I don't want to do is I don't want to tell somebody how they should act or how they should feel about something. People feel how they feel, don't they? And depending on how you feel, it depends on your indoctrination and how conditioned you are and how you've been able to shake the conditioning off. So I just think there's probably for me.
I think if she were my daughter, my hand, the last place it would be anywhere next to her buttocks.
Yeah, I suppose so. But
It's
his hands were on the back, weren't it, at first, and then he's putting his hand down. It's probably just a natural, movement. This
a natural sneaky movement.
Muscle memory they call it, don't they?
And did you see that? Did you see the video of King Lizard III hissing at his staff?
No. I've seen some shit with him though over years, but
right. Well, I might as well. While we're on the topic, we may as well just have a quick look at King Lizard himself.
King Sausage Fingers.
King Sausage Fingers, and now we've got King Lizard, and he's actually hissing. Look at the way he's speaking to his servants. Get this shit out of my... Get it out. Wait for it. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I want to play that one more time because that's pretty cool.
There he goes. That's our king. King Charles III.
King Charles, look at him.
King Sausage Fingers.
That's fucking wicked, man. Hissing at his servants. Unreal,
that's
man.
terrible, isn't
it? It looks terrible, It actually does look really terrible. So anyway, I don't know what to make of this lad. All I know is he's one of the deep insiders on the is it the WEF or is he Davos? I can't remember which, but he's one of the great big climate change nutcases. Hold on, I better be careful not to say silly things like that might get us banned. But I think we can talk about climate change in a broad sense. So yeah, he's one of these guys that are into this zero carbon, and he's big time into it, always has been. So what does this mean for the future, having that harebrained idiot?
Well, he has said that he's not going to be doing. He's not going to be political anymore. He's going to be neutral. I can't see that. I can't see that. I mean, especially where he's been waiting fucking how long to be king? Fucking 70 years, isn't it?
Yeah,
he's been waiting 70 years to be king.
Yeah, that's right. There was a great meme going around. 73-year-old man finally gets a job after 73 years. Unemployed man, 73-year-old unemployed man finally gets a job after 73 years.
Let me just put something up here. I just want to read this out that Miss Blue Sky said. It was weird, Jason, talking about Prince Andrew and whichever one of his daughters it was. People know the difference between a back and a bum. I wouldn't assume if there was no accusations and he won in court with good evidence. It's a fair enough point. It's a fair point. I just don't know. I just fucking can't. Sorry, fucking hell. Keep putting shit up. I'm just no good at this. Do you think the Jackie Chip Shop story was bollocks? I don't know who that is then. Who's Jackie Chip Shop? Tell us who Jackie Chip Shop is, please, Roger my ass.
Great name.
Kernow says Chris Partridge groomed him for a long enough. Black Dahlia, it's Chris. It's the fucking. I don't know. It's a fucking weird time. It's a weird time. It's a weird time, and there is now uncertainty in this country, even more than they were beforehand. But nobody is now complaining about their bills going up from 800 quid to 2.5 grand, and capped at 2.5 grand at that as well. Nobody's moaning about that anymore. So I think they've got this just about right, haven't they? Announced it just about at the right time. You've got Ukraine, which was sort of simmering out and fizzling away, and people sort of started asking questions about that. And then, of course, we've got this energy crisis. By the way, fucking in Lincolnshire, £1.55 for a litre of fuel. They here 169 in Sheffield. That's a difference of what, fucking nearly 15p difference. Nearly 15 pence difference from one place to another. They're not that far away from each other either. So if anybody tells you it's fucking Russia or Ukraine or anything that's causing that, you know it's not, because where in Links it was, that was at. Let me find. I know where in Links it were. There's a big roundabout near Skegness. There's a big roundabout. There's a one on there, and there were one in on the other way on towards Market Raisin as well. That I got 155, and it were mostly. Every time I went past it, it were going down. So, and when I got back here, it were fucking going up. So it's fucking nightmare, isn't it? So it's not. Fuck it, I'm buying a camel, says Tony. Black Dahlia says, I was in your area, Jason, visiting Hallamshire Hospital. Oh, good. It's fucking yeah. I hope you had a better experience than me. I don't even go anymore. I'm supposed to go for blood tests. I now go in through drive-through because I just can't stand, well, people, really. Yeah.
Just one more thing on the Queen thing, Jay. I was watching on that little video that you had on the intro. They had the BLM sort of like out kicking up a fuss over the Queen and her death, like, and they were none too happy with her by the looks of it. But if I remember correctly, the Queen was one of the characters that stood up and was pro BLM. So what the hell were they out sort of like giving the Queen a hard time on the day of her death? What was that all about?
I don't know. It is weird, that, isn't it? It is weird. Yeah. There were a footballer, I think, that posted something. A black footballer talking about how racism was still around, even though she'd been, but he deleted it. He pretty much deleted it like not long after he got a bit of backlash. Can't remember which one it were. Can't remember. But it was somebody I've heard of before. Anyway. Yeah. What's this here? Window. Oh yeah, the chip shop. The chip shop we're talking about. Right. First, Ford says we're at Boston in Lincolnshire. It was just outside Skegness, mate. A roundabout, and there's a couple of places. One on way in from Market Raisin, and one on way in from Lincoln. But there's a couple of petrol stations with really, really cheap fuel. So there you go. But the chip shop, there were a woman who apparently did something about she put something in she owned a chip shop. She put something in window about Queen that were a little bit derogatory, and a chip shop window's been smashed, which you would expect because you know how fucking idiots people are. Although people were supposed to be, and I didn't hear any, but people were today supposed to be, or yesterday, were supposed to be standing at the doors and clapping for the Queen at 7 o'clock. I didn't hear out, did you? No, I didn't hear out. So,
yeah.
All right, love. Yeah. So, yeah.
But there is still a huge pro-royal sentiment, I believe, in England. Like, it'd be very, very much divided. Like, I'd imagine still, like, with a lot of pro-royalists still, like, especially in around certain areas of the country, if I'm not mistaken.
You're always going to get them, though, aren't you? You're always going to get people that are a bit fucking because let's face it, you've got to be a little bit eccentric to believe that somebody's, depending on which fanny they come out of, somebody's destined to become ruler of a huge number of people. There's definitely something wrong with that.
She wouldn't really be a ruler as such, though. I always seen the royal family more as a symbolic family in a lot of senses. Like, you know, do they actually wield that much power? I often wonder how much power they actually. I know they'd be fairly rich and well off, like property-wise, and with assets. Like, but on the grand scale of things, compared to some of the big globalists, just how rich and how prominent. Because like, if they were as big and famous as they were, how come they couldn't head off the Andrew scandal? That was sort of like an indication to me that holy shit, like this is a warning to them. Like, otherwise that thing with Andrew wouldn't have gone ahead. It wouldn't have got as far as it did.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I think that there was something. I think there was something in that I think that got caught up in a little bit of American politics as well.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
I wonder if the Israelis had any role to play in that whole thing, since they are the sort of like the ones running that particular honey trap with Epstein and Maxwell.
well, I mean, they all go to Wailing Wall, don't they? Everybody, fucking Trump went, for fuck's sake. They all go. I've seen Charles with King Sausage Fingers with one of them little hats on, and other people that I didn't think were Jewish. I mean, Tony Blair's we're talking about converting to Judaism, weren't he? But even though you can't really convert to Judaism and be a proper Jewish person, you'll never be Jewish unless you're actually born Jewish. But people do want to. They do seem to be like the kids, the cool kids in town, don't they? When it comes to elites, everyone wants to be with them, hang about with them, and that.
Well, the truth of the matter is, if you call yourself a Christian, you're actually sort of like following Judaism in a lot of senses, because like Christianity is actually Jewish. It's
yeah, of
where
course
it comes from. Yeah. You're not exactly part of the elite of the Jewish, but like you are following their God. So that's why you're called the Goyim. The Goyim.
Goyim, yeah. Well, yeah. The coffin is leg lined in case Zelensky shells and destroys a nuclear power plant. I saw some of that on your feed today, weren't there? There were a big explosion on something, weren't there? Is that verified where it were?
Oh God, where was that explosion again? I got some information. No, it wasn't around the nuclear power plant at all. I'll see if I can figure out where it was. It should be here on my feed still. It hit a power plant. No, this was a power plant, but this is actually on the Ukrainian side. They actually hit a power plant because over the last few days, they've taken out. What Russia have started to do is they started taking out the civilian infrastructure like the power plants, and they've been bringing them to a halt, because I don't know if you probably haven't been keeping up with the situation in Ukraine last few days. It's been totally nuts. It's like it's turned upside down. Ukraine are on the march, and they're actually having successful counterattacks in particular regions. Like Russia have pulled back and withdrawn from certain regions. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't know.
Okay. Well, I did. I thought we'd be talking about this tonight for briefly. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but what I'll do is I'll show you a little map that I've got stored up here, showing where the Russians have given ground. It'll just take me a moment because I'm going to have to switch to sharing on a different screen now. So it's also complicated. Let's see. What did I do with it?
It just popped up and then it fucked off again.
I'm not seeing my window here. Take photo. Pictures. I'm not seeing it. Where is the window? So I'll just do the entire screen, right? So basically this is the map that I'm looking at here. So basically, if you take a look at Ukraine, all these sort of like bluish areas, they're areas that are now in Ukrainian territory. Russia have pulled back out of all these areas here. So these were formerly under Russian control. So Ukraine has now taken back these areas. There's serious changes on the battlefield. So you can see up here in the north, in the Kharkov region, serious pullbacks. Yeah, and then down here in the Kherson region, apparently there's a load of troops on the building up down there, but the Russians apparently are holding it for now. And so this is a very, very changeable situation in Ukraine at the moment. Now we've discussed this, I suppose, at length over the last number of months, Jay. You know that like I've been saying this, like that I've been saying this a lot. That if you start to see Russia start to take control of Ukraine and without any serious pushback, that's an indicator possibly that the globalists have won, right? Because I'm not sure about Putin. You know, I understand why he's I totally agree with what he's doing for the people of Donetsk and Luhansk. They have to be helped, like, but at the same time, he was one of Klaus Schwab's sort of like boys in the globalist club, like, and the globalist club would appear to be looking for this multipolar world order. So the fact that we're seeing this pushback now is an indicator to me that there's a serious battle going on for this world right now. Because if I'm not mistaken, Vladimir thought that he would take over Ukraine completely, right? And this was it, done and dusted. America would be out, completely out of Eastern Europe, and then they could sort of like form this multipolar world order and this McKinder world island, controlled by Israel, Russia, and China. So the fact that America are not getting out just yet is an indicator that there's some serious pushback against this globalist world order. That this is not going the way they planned, right? And this may be a good sign. I'm not sure who the good guys are, who the bad guys are. I'm still not sure why I should be supporting Nazis in Ukraine, but is it possible that they're the good guys? I wish I knew. I really, really wish I knew. And over the last 2 days, also, we've been seeing a big flare up in Azerbaijan, on the border of Azerbaijan and Armenia. Now, Armenia, they're host to a Russian base, and Armenia is just south of Georgia, which is a Russian protectorate as well, too. You know, so is this another front opening up on the Russian side? This war is far from open. This war is only just kicking off right now, the way I see it. Like, you know, there's been a good few casualties there on the Armenian border last night. And I don't know whether it'll settle down. It might just settle down, but we'll have to wait and see. There's a meeting tomorrow. I think it's the CSTO, which is this pact, which is between they're all countries who are protectorates of the Russian of the Russian side. So they're having a big meeting tomorrow, I think, and we're going to probably find out more about what the next stage of this Armenian business is going to be. But it's looking to me that like this war is just starting to heat up. You know, I know Ukraine seemed like it's been dying down and getting quieter over the last month, 2 months, but do you know what? It's about to get really, really crazy now, because with what's been going on in Ukraine over the last 2 days, 3 days, there's going to be a new stance in Russia. Russia are now going to be changing their stance. I think they're going to be changing it from, I think there's a lot of people talking about Russia maybe going to go full mobilization of their troops, but a lot of the people who seem to know their stuff are saying that's not what's going to happen, and they'll probably do what they've done in Chechnya and say and call it an anti-terrorist operation. And if that happens, the gloves are still going to come off, like, but they won't have to go full-fledged war. But it'll be like the operation happened in Chechnya, and it will be brutal. They will probably go scorched earth on them from here on. Like, but we'll just have to wait and see. We'll wait and see how invested the West is in keeping Ukraine intact. But it's about to get pretty hot there now, and we've seen that over the last couple of days with 50% of the Ukrainian electrical infrastructure taken out over the last 2 days. So it's a big escalation. It's Russia have not done anything like this up till now, and this is a sign that it's about to get really hot there.
Somebody's put. Wait, Roger, my ass has put in the thing that you're scaremongering. Look, what we're doing, what you're doing is you're calling it as you see it, don't you? I mean, we talk about these things. It is called Raconteurs News, and we do talk about the news and what's in it. Whatever you think of the war and the war and why it's being fought and if it's being fought and where it's being fought and whether we're just a part of the, we're just an audience for a theatre. That's it's what we're doing is we're reporting on what's been reported. So, but the cost of living it's gone up, fucking already gone up, hasn't it? It's fucking going up. It's already gone up. But yeah, it's no, we're not scaremongering, are we? Anyway.
No, just reporting the facts on the ground. So
well, the facts is we're putting what other people have reported because we're not on ground, are we? We're reporting what other people have reported. So that's all we can do. We're just talking about what other people have reported. We could talk about Queen all night, and we could. Should we do that? Should we just talk about the Queen all night and some of the good things that she did? Here's one that you didn't know. The Queen used to sneak out of Buckingham Palace at night when it was raining and put umbrella hats on homeless people.
Yeah, well, I have a funny feeling that, like, poor Queen didn't die of natural causes. And I reckon she just wasn't able for our Denny. I reckon he was just pumping her a bit too much, man, and she just couldn't take it. Like, her heart must have given somewhere in the middle of it.
Yeah, Denny would gain, yeah.
Our Denny is a brute, I can well imagine what he'd be like.
Oh, he's brutish. Oh, here, Denny. Thank you for that. Thank you, but could you please just stop coming on one's face? Oh dear, that's terrible.
Yeah, but I think fear mongering, like that's a heavy term to be using for.
It is heavy, isn't it? It's just too much. It's we're not fear mongering. We never fear monger on this fucking show anyway, because we tell you about what is being reported that's happening, and then we fucking laugh at it. So it's never fear mongering, is it? It's just about we're just repeating what goes on. It's a show. We just talk about stuff. If you want to talk about something else, we'll talk about something else.
Special interest events, where stuff that affects us mere mortals. It's like I suppose we could change gears for a while, because that is the whole Ukraine story in a nutshell. I've condensed it. Like, I could have spoken for hours, but there's loads of people talking for hours, and there's lots of channels out there actually doing some real fear mongering. So, if you want some real fear mongering, I could probably give you channels that just pump the doom all day, like, so but it's no harm. I think it's no harm just doing a quick outline of what's exactly going on, just the facts, in a generalized sort of a way and as quickly as possible without spending too much time on it.
Yes. Paula says, Dinny, the royal love machine. I think that makes more sense than, than 96-year-old woman or whatever she was, dies in her sleep in a massive castle in fucking Scotland. Raconteurs News, talk about last week's big news. Graham Potter's decision to leave Brighton and go to Chelsea. Good manager, Graham Potter. 10 years ago, I was championing him to be Wednesday manager because he were working in Sweden then. So I would have loved that. But yeah, I was championing him back then. And now he's at Chelsea. What a top manager. Good bloke as well. I wonder if the Queen ever gave Philip a blowjob, or did she get the butler to do it for her? Oh dear me. God. Eh? Or Andrew, yeah. Andrew might have done it, huh? Chelsea suck, Brighton are on the up. Okay. All right, fair enough. I don't care. I'm not a Chelsea or Brighton fan, although I do dislike Brighton very, very much as a football team, but not the people of Brighton at all. I hate that little
thing with another thing about Brighton.
Trossard. Eh?
Their beach, the Brighton beach, is awful. It's just rocks, It's
pebbles, yeah. Fucking pebbles.
Yeah. Horrible.
Yes, it is. It's I don't like Brighton. I don't like that Trossard bloke. He's a bit of fucking. He's French anyway, so I'll be all right saying that.
Do you know what I liked about Brighton? Parts of the city, like the streets are beautiful, like, but they're really narrow, if I remember correctly, like, and you'd be walking down these streets and you can barely like put two people side by side on some of them. Like, that's interesting. I thought that was quite quaint.
Fucking hell.
Something about the streets, I said.
Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. I was just about to say. Brighton is very proud of its rock beach, and so it is. And Brighton also is known for its very small entrances, and as well as passages and streets and things like that. Yes. Fucking
Yeah. See, we're not all negative here, you know. It's not all doom, you know. So,
is the Ukrainian Football League still playing? That's a good question. I don't think they are they?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Shakhtar Donetsk have played, but I don't think the league is playing. But I don't know. Go on.
No, probably not. Like Donetsk City, would have been a big city in the leagues years ago, and we haven't heard much from Donetsk. What was the team's name? It was something done. Can't remember. The really cool name for their football team. But anyway, even if they could play, they probably wouldn't be allowed in any leagues because they're on the Russian side. So they get an automatic ban if they try to play in the European Cup again.
Apparently they are. It's not. There's no. They are playing, but there's no fans allowed.
Well done, Bandit. Shakhtar Donetsk.
Shakhtar Donetsk. Yeah. Shakhtar Donetsk. They're the only one. Yeah, they're the team that usually is in the Champions League, aren't they? So yeah, they'll be playing in Donetsk. But I don't know what they're doing in Ukraine. I don't know whether they're still playing or. But like he says, I think there's no fans. No fans allowed.
The interesting thing about the Ukrainian football teams, that was the birthplace, the origin of a lot of the Azov and the Nazi battalions that are rampant there in the country at the moment. So all these teams that, like Kharkov, the team up in Kharkov, would have been the epicenter where it all started. And even Donetsk had a huge NAZI component to its football club. So. I just thought that an interesting curiosity I came across when I was reading up and doing a little bit of history on the origins of all these NAZI in Ukraine. So the football and the football stadiums played a big, huge role in the development of those particular movements.
Right. Sorry. I was just looking at something. I didn't hear any of that, what you just said then. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That's okay. From sponsoring the football. They're supposed to be, aren't they? They were before, but they fucked it off, haven't they? They fucked Gazprom off.
Completely, yeah. Indefinitely.
Yeah. Yeah, Kiev. I was looking because I was looking for that. Apparently, because we were talking about football, Shamrock Rovers chanting "Lizzie in a box."
No way.
Yeah. Here we go. I've got it here. Hang on. Let me share it.
Shamrock fucking Rovers.
I know. Here we go. Anyway, that's Shamrock Rovers. They were singing "Lizzie's in a Box."
Yeah. Shamrock Rovers are a Dublin team, by the way, for anybody who's not familiar with Shamrock Rovers.
Yeah, well, why should they? Why should exactly? Tony's just made the point. Why should they mourn? Why should they? I mean, I won't be mourning. I didn't mourn the King of Thailand when he died, and he'd been on throne for 70 years. It's just about the same, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, but you wouldn't give it any airtime at all. Personally, I wouldn't give a damn. I don't celebrate anybody's death. Just bad taste, really. But that's me personally. But
yeah, same here. I mean, I'm not one to go out. I think she's been dead for a bit anyway. I don't think. I think like somebody said, it's probably been that's. I hope that it's just been rolled out at this time as well. And
Yeah,
of course, everybody's got the numerology theories as well, the 23s and the particularly Mark Conlon. He's done a few on. I've seen a few of them on Facebook. He's been on the show. He's a good lad, Mark.
yeah.
Wednesday
I've
had
seen.
2 minutes silence for fucking Thailand. How were there? It were fucking 2 minutes. It were not one, Ford. And they had a, because Wednesday's owned by a Thai company,
Okay, nice.
Chancery. And when because the Thai king was really, really loved by everybody. I mean, properly, everybody loved him who were, in Thailand, apparently. And so, they had 2 minutes. So when the king of Thailand died, they did a big presentation that were on video screen. There were lots of good music, and then there were 2 minutes silence. So it were pretty good. I liked that were all right. It were good. It were a good ceremony, if you know what I mean. It were like a ceremony I suppose it was similar to when Leicester owners died, didn't they? They're from Thailand. Yeah, I think they respected their royal family, but apparently he looked after them. So it would have been sad to see him going. Nobody likes this new one. What does it remind you of? We know what makes me wonder is what do these people who what are they thinking of sausage fingers? Are they thinking, oh no, well Lizzie's dead now, we're stuck with sausage fingers, or are they going to get behind him like they did his mother?
I don't see it happening, like, because he's got too many connections to this Epstein business as well too. Like a lot of the commentators that I've been listening to think he won't have a very long reign, So we'll have to wait and see how it goes,
Wait, how old is he now? He must be. What?
She was 93. She must be 78 or 79, sure.
Yeah. Fucking hellfire. Fancy having to wait all that time to get your hands on that fucking art.
He would have been the eldest, wouldn't he? He was the eldest, wasn't
he? He's the eldest,
Yeah. So
he's 73. There he goes, he's 73.
Okay, nice.
I think he should abdicate and give it to Wills and Kate. Lol. I think they all should abdicate.
Yeah, well, apparently, wasn't young Meghan Markle and Harry were over, and I think Harry was accepted, but I think a lot of the royal supporters didn't like her being on the scene at all, because I think she made a fuss about the Queen there quite recently as well too. She's a right little upstart, that one, She's causing a lot of trouble and waves. So
Meghan?
Meghan, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she's a right little whinger, She's one of these like BLMers, and
of course she is, but that's what they do, though, isn't it? That's what they do, is when they've got a profile like that, they can use it to they get paid to do shit like that. Black Lives Matter. I did see something. I saw something on Twitter, and it was actually her shaking hands with some of the people that were there. That people that had gathered outside Windsor House. It's fucking shoe shop there, also. near fucking Windsor Castle. And she was shaking hands, and then it showed this, and it like one of these lasses shook hands, and then there was a woman next to her, looked like perhaps a mother or something like that, and sort of looked at her, and then gave her this look, which weren't but like they were trying to make out it were racist. It were a racist look. How can you give a racist look? This is the look. This is the look. Racist. This is the elitist fucking bot. Racist? Yeah. I can never go fucking racist look. I don't get it.
If she met me on the street, I'd probably get the same, and the look I'd be giving her wouldn't be a racist look. It'd be kind of like, you're an ugly motherfucking, you're an ugly looking motherfucker look.
You can't say that about Meghan.
She's not that pretty, like, it's like.
Yeah, well, she's all right.
Does she know that her husband once paraded around with Nazi symbolism and a Nazi uniform on him?
I think he probably does. I think somebody might have fucking pointed that out to her. You can't really throw the race card when you're married to somebody who's fucking dressed up as a Nazi, can you? Somebody, it's like, yeah. It's like if she married fucking Uni. Really? Meghan Markle marrying Uni. Now there's a wedding that I'd go to.
Yeah, well, I think Uni would be a bit more sensible. He wouldn't get together with anybody unless they passed how to be a National Socialist exam.
Well, Uni's just not going to be with anybody, is it?
I wouldn't rule it out yet. You know, he might find himself a nice woman who likes to go out partying with a hood on her face. Yet.
I'm only kidding. Uni. Someone for everybody. It's somebody for everybody. And
Yes, indeed.
So you stick at it, whatever you're doing, to find romance these days.
I mean, it's getting hard.
Say it again.
It is getting harder these days. You know, people tend to not be as committed to each other. I think these days, you know, people don't stay the course anymore. So it probably is getting harder to meet a reliable partner.
Well, yeah, because everything's like one hit. It's instant. It's now. So it's why Tinder does so well, because Tinder's it's an instant gratification, isn't it? But you know, I watched a thing on it last night actually, a short documentary on it and on on its business model and how evil it were and that, and yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But you see, that's what age we live in. You want everything now, and then you're bored with it fucking 5 minutes later. We live in a throwaway society, and that's leaked over into relationships and people as well.
That's the truth. Yeah. It is. It is a symptom of the throwaway society, you know, and it's unfortunate, like, you know, but you know, is that the modern society degenerating or going into a state of regression, you know, and it seems kind of self-destructive in a lot of ways. It seems. Like,
I think regression would probably be a positive if we would get people regressing, because regression would. We need to go backwards. We're going forwards, and the more forwards we go, and the more technologically advanced we become, the more retarded people are. The fucking more retarded people are. They've got the world at their fingertips. The world of information at your fingertips. What do you do?
Yeah. I was listening to an ex-army guy last night, and he was talking about law, especially military law, and he was losing his fucking head over a lot of people like who they've got these short attention spans. You know, they can't take in any information which is more than 5 minutes long. You know, he's getting really pissed off. He was trying to say, like, he was trying to explain how what happened in America around the time of the inauguration is like, and everything that's been going on since Biden had come into office, it's all fake. It's all just a movie set, and that none of it is actually real, and that, like, Trump is still commander in chief, and he went through a load of, like, he was addressing a lot of the executive orders which he had put into place in around 2018 regarding a lot of things. And about how the National Guard is placed all over the place, and that doesn't happen in a normally in life in America. Like, the National Guard usually stay in their own respective states, and he had loads and loads of evidence of National Guard, like, not just being in their own states but out abroad even. So he was saying, like, he was just going nuts about how these people are just like into these fucking phones here, and they can only spend 5 minutes taking in information. They don't want to know about law. They don't want to understand about their constitution. They don't want to know about their history, and that he's just on the verge of giving up on them, like, and telling them, like, if you don't fucking like it, get the fuck out, because we're taking over, basically. So there's something going on in America for sure, like, you know, because I don't believe anything that's going on coming from that Biden regime. It just looks like a movie, a theater, a show.
Yeah, well, I think that's what the whole world is. To be fair, it is a movie theater show, because you turn your TV off and it's just fucking it's almost as if you can release it. You can actually feel it. I know you don't watch TV, and I don't fucking really. I watch Grand Prix on Sunday, and that's pretty much about it. So, if when you're watching fucking telly, you turn it off and your mood will instantly improve. It'll improve. Do something else. So it takes your mind off it. All that's doing is keeping your mind on everything, whether it's the news or whether it's this thing that you could buy that will make your life fucking better, or this thing that you could buy that will make my life better. And then you get onto all other stuff. It's all fucking down and Queen's dead. Fucking world's at war. You're gonna fucking all. Nobody's going to have any electricity or gas this winter and all that. It's all doom and gloom. It's worth fucking switching off, isn't it? It's worth switching off.
Yeah, well, you can take it in, like, watch it by all means, but just don't believe anything they tell you. If they're sort of promoting doom, it's best just sit back and just, why would they be promoting doom? It's really to keep you in that state of fear. Because I'm convinced that we're not going to have as hard a crash as what we're expecting. I'm still looking at all that's going on. I'm looking at everything that's going on in the world, but still, I'm taking a step back and saying, like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. It could all be just lies and rubbish, but it's good to know it. It's good to be able to recognize it, but don't fall into the trap thinking that it's all going to be negative, because I'm not there at all. I'm still thinking that we're going to get a nice, soft landing. And as far as crypto goes, I haven't been following the crypto, Chris. I know one thing: just be very, very careful. It's probably a good time to be out of it. That's my personal opinion. It's like with the monetary system. I think it's a good time to be out of all stocks and everything like that, and just wait and do nothing. Get your money safe if you have any. Get it safe and secure now, because I think there's a new world coming. And I think Putin is probably showing us the way it's going to go. We're probably going to be going back to a financial system which is based on something real, possibly real stuff, because this money printing can't go on forever. It's going to crack, and it's going to. I think we're starting to see the cracks show at the moment, because there's a recession coming, serious recession, one that has never been seen for a very, very long time, and I don't see how crypto.
The thing is, we printing money. The thing that we've been doing for the last, since fucking 2008, I think 2007, 2008, when they started quantitative easing and all that fucking bollocks, and we had credit crunch. Remember that bastard? The credit crunch, fucking hell. It made it sound like a fucking chocolate bar. But that's exactly what they tried to do, wasn't it? Tried to make it fucking sound as non-threatening as possible, whereas the global emergency, climate emergency, in fucking bright red is completely different to the credit crunch. Yet the credit crunch were probably much worse than this global emergency, climate emergency that's going on. So it's all about dressing it up, providing whatever your narrative that you want. I don't know what it is with people that get in power, but they seem to be all bastards. But when the quantitative easing and the money's been printed, the money's all going to the same place. You and I are no better off. But the people who have got the hundreds of millions and billions of pounds, they've got hundreds and billions and millions and billions more. See, it didn't really come down through to us, did it? It's down to normal people printing money. No. You just look at football now. Just look how much fucking money they are paid. £500,000 a week for Ronaldo roundabout. Somebody had offered him £500,000 a week. That's just it's obscene. The people aren't rich anymore. They're fucking super mega wealthy fucking, and the gap is just widening and getting more and more, getting wider and wider, more and more wider, as I was going to say then.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with this financial crash. All I know is that there's something on the horizon now, very, very shortly. It's probably going to require a great reset of sorts, and hopefully it's not going to be the Klaus Schwab's reset. Hopefully it'll be much more sense. You know, it's hard to know where it's going. You know, it's because like you're seeing companies like BlackRock who are hoovering up all the assets basically. Like from what I'm getting, that's going on in America. BlackRock and a lot of these Vanguard, they're hoovering up all the assets that people can't afford to pay for anymore, that they're selling off really cheap to get their money secure because you know, one, they can't afford to keep paying because the interest rates are rising, so they can't afford to pay for them anymore. And two, they want to save what they've got still. So, um, this is Klaus Schwab's like great reset, like where you loan nothing, and it's true in a way, like so, but I don't want to see that happen. So that's why I'm watching carefully what goes on in Ukraine. If I see Russia take the whole of Ukraine, I'll know we've lost, and that we'll be owning nothing, and we'll be very very happy, and we'll be eating Z bugs.
But we own nothing anyway now, do we? I mean, you
Yeah,
don't actually own anything. If it can be taken away from you, then you don't own it, and not even your own body. You don't even own your own body. John Smith said they don't print money. Banks are allowed to create money out of thin air by securitizing debt. Yeah, but it's creating money, and that's what that's
yeah.
meant by printing money. It's just an easier way of saying it. But yeah, I know what you mean. Fractional reserve banking, all that. Fucking, we should get the Bradbury pound back. Let's go back to 2014. Let's get in behind the Bradbury pound, everybody.
What was that?
Ford
Joe?
says Premier League keeps England going as a country. That's not fucking too far out, is it? And City of London as well, but that's a completely separate entity anyway. But it's still on our shores. Where are we going here? I can't fucking remember. There was someone once I cared for deeply, but I failed her and destroyed the relationship. I regret I have to this day. Tony there, sorry. Obviously, we're talking to somebody else. I think you were about love lost. Yeah. Fucking, I'm dying for a piss, man. Can you take over for 5 minutes while I just?
Yeah, of course, bro.
I've got to have a
And,
slash. I'm
I just
busting. I didn't even have my fucking Irene arse labour 2 minutes after I fucking got on today.
yeah, unexpected, so it's never nice to go into arse labour mid-show. So anyway, we'll try cover it a little bit. I don't know what we were talking about, but I've got a bit of a story here that I do want to cover, which was, oh yeah, I best get my screen share thing going because I've been all over the place here tonight, not knowing so many different things to share, from videos to pictures, and it's not always the friendliest platform to actually work with. So when I'm doing the show on my own, it's actually a little bit different because I can just use the OBS software, which runs a little bit smoother than this StreamYard software. But it doesn't matter. We'll work with it. So, this story that I want to cover now is basically the election in Sweden, right? So we had the right-wing Sweden Democrats, their triumph in historic vote, and more mail-in ballots incoming, right? So they with 6,244 out of 6,578 districts reporting that patriotic Sweden Democrats are up 3.1% over the late elections to 20.7%, making them the biggest winner and the biggest party in the Conservative bloc, which currently holds 49.7% of the vote, with 48.8% for the left-wing parties. So that's 175 seats out of 349 in the Reichstag. This would put the Conservative parties over the top to form a right-wing government, something traditionally socialist Sweden has not seen since 2014, or really ever. The Socialist Democrats, currently at 30.5%, ruled Sweden from 1932 to 1976 and 1982 to 2006, followed by a centre-right government around the moderate and conservative parties in 2006 to 2014. So I'll put that on pause there now and just discuss a small bit, because this is big. What's happening in Sweden is quite big. Now, the article does point out that, right-wing governments have sort of held power in Sweden before, but not usually for very long. But this seems to be an indication you got two patriotic parties coming up strong, like, you know. So there's obviously they're running on a platform of like anti-immigration, and they're promising sort of like mass deportations. You know, we have Sweden at the moment, the rape and gun capital of Europe. You know, so it's shocking to see what's going on in Sweden, and I think this is a direct result. And hard to know how much of this is organic, you know, because as it works with a lot of politics, it's always like problem solution type of stuff. You create a problem, and then somebody comes in with a solution. So, like, how much of this importation of foreign Swedes has been organic, or has it been designed this way to sort of like push an alternative view in Sweden and change the politics? And I'm always worried. I'm constantly worried these days about, because like we have nothing, we're surrounded by problems, a load of problems that need solutions. So I'm more worried about the solution that's about to arise, because you know, especially we've got NAZI rampaging through Ukraine, and I'm thinking, holy shit, you know, is this going to be the start of something major in Europe? Are we going to start to see a real extremist come out of the closet, like, you know, with perfect solutions for crumbling countries? You know, I think the climate is right. What would you reckon, Jay, about this shit going on in Sweden?
Well, you see, I read the results, and I sort of. Are you talking about the election in Sweden? As far as what you're saying, I read the results, and from what I could get from the results was that it were a centre left party that had a so-called centre left party that had got the majority, or had won the election the most.
No. The far right came out pretty big. The far right came out pretty big. The Sweden Democrats. And then you also had a smaller centre right came out with 21%. So at the moment, it looks like it's right leaning, very, very right leaning. But they're still counting votes, believe it or not. They're still stuck on counting mail-in ballots. So they have a similar situation to what we had in America there in 2020. So is there going to be some massive swing back to the left now? In the meantime, counting is supposed to finish tomorrow evening. So, but the initial results indicate centre right, far right, watershed.
Right. Okay. Right. I thought that. I remember now. It were an exit poll I'd read. It were an exit poll that I'd read, and it did make it look like the centre left were winning. I don't know whether that was just to sort of try and get people, cajole people into, you know, what they do. The polls are to manipulate people, aren't they? If you say someone's winning, they want to be on winning teams, or they want to vote for, you know, it's that mentality. We're such fucking idiots to ourselves. You know, we've got no fucking sense of self-preservation. Just and looking to the future, just we'll do what we're fucking told most of the time. So yeah, it's yeah.
But you're in a
situation. Sweden, what about the UK? Yeah, it's what I mean. We did have a little bit of that though, didn't we? Earlier on, it's sort of 2015, 16, when where Trump and Brexit and that they were. What we were told were surges in far right fucking
UKIP, wasn't it?
Far left propaganda, but far right, you know, violence and stuff like that. That's what they were trying to spout.
You had UKIP, didn't you? And that was like Farage's movement, and you know, he should have kept going there. Like, but you know what? He done a deal with the Conservatives, so he took his finger off the ball there. Like, he should have kept going with that UKIP movement, but it had its own internal problems too, I believe. So maybe he had his reasons for pulling out at the time. So, but there you are. You're still in this situation now where you got Liz Truss as your Prime Minister now, and she's much to do about nothing, and she sounds like quite a dangerous character, really, you know, because the first thing that she said was, "Yes, I'm ready to go to nuclear war with Russia," you know, and I was just thinking, God, you are a crazy fucker.
Yeah, fucking that is. But you see that again. Is she really? I mean, I don't think there's. I think the fucking nuclear stuff's a hoax anyway. I think it has been. I think a lot of it is just fucking. I mean, look. You've only got to look at Chernobyl. I mean, we were told that if you're a little spillage, nobody to be growing there for 20,000 years. You know, it's all fucking covered in weeds. Do you know what I mean? And so somebody's growing there. It's fucking weeds growing there.
Yeah, but if you go, you can actually sort of like zoom in on Google Earth, and you can actually take a look at what happened to the area where the plume actually drifted, which was kind of north to the plant. Like you can still see where it's totally decimated.
You trust Google Earth, do you? You trust Google Earth, a cartoon that appears on your computer? I don't trust it. See, that's the thing. I don't trust it like I don't trust fucking space travel.
Yeah,
and
but you can see pictures of it. Like, you know, you don't have to trust Google Earth. There are pictures of it. Like there's a whole swathe of the area.
Taken from what, though? Satellite photos.
Yeah, like, but there is a track there. There's a definite track there where you can see it's a total dead land. You know, it's a tinderbox. They're always worried about it catching on fire and stuff. So it's always a big concern. But like, I know what you're saying. There's a lot of areas the wildlife has returned, and I think they've learned a lot about nuclear radiation. And it seems that like life in general is a lot more resilient than was once understood. Like, you know, because clearly, like the wildlife has returned and rebounded like with a vengeance. You know, so. So I understand what you're saying, like, you know, based on that Chernobyl thing, like, you know, but, you know, would you also discount what happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Well, look, I understand that there's fucking bombs and things that can do masses of damage, but for me, I think it's overdone because we're told the radiation. If there were a nuclear war, there'd be a fucking nuclear winter, no to grow for all these fucking years, and everyone would die of radiation poisoning and all this sort of shit. That's fucking, you know, it's pretty fucking heavy to put on people. And we had that really fucking pumped into us, particularly here in Sheffield. We had Threads, which was a film in which a nuclear bomb goes off in Sheffield. And that was from like 1980, I think. And we were shown that in school, you know. So to me, it just seems to be one of them things that they fucking really, really push. And I don't know whether I know that of course, I know there's fucking bombs that cause mass devastation, but there's still from Hiroshima, there's still buildings that are stood that were standing on that day.
Yeah. But I know from working with Sean McGee for many years, like I've done plenty of shows with a guy called Chris Busby, who's a scientist and very, very well expert in epidemiological studies of areas like where there has been especially around power plants, where he was doing statistical analysis of children and childhood leukemia and deaths from cancer and stuff like that. So he's done some crazy work on that subject, like showing that there is possibly a definite link between these nuclear reactors and an increase in cancers, especially in children and stuff like that. Because children are generally much more susceptible because of their body size and their weight, and they're a bit more susceptible to radiation, more so than older people. Like, he also worked with the and they won court cases for the veterans who were exposed to the radiation fallout for the tests that were done down in the South Pacific. Like, so he's won cases on this shit, you know. So I think maybe just keep an open mind. I'm not going to tell you what's what. Just maybe keep an open mind. And well, I was certainly convinced from talking to him anyway and reviewing, because we were covering a lot of his stories, especially while the court cases were going on. He was actually a brief for the veterans in England, like, and so we used to get blow by blow information coming from, like what was going on, like, and some stuff he couldn't obviously talk about, but a lot of it he could. So very, very believable sort of character, unless he was a total bullshit artist. But he wasn't in court because he was a bullshit artist. He wasn't a brief for all those veterans unless he had some real meat and some power behind.
I understand. Listen, I get that, but there's always going to be fucking shit. There's always going to be shit around that, isn't there? I mean, there's always going to be. If let's just say that people experiments with radiation, they're going to have done that, and people can get radiation poisoning, and we know that, don't we? We know that's a fact, right? But so that would be all around it. Look, I can't have your point of view because I've not viewed what the point that you're viewing from. So I can't I can't see your point of view. Whereas for you, it's your point of view, and for me, it's my point of view, and I can't really. Never the twain shall meet. I don't think, but we can.
It's not even my point of view. I'm just going from some of the evidence that I've been exposed to over the last 10 years. There was a time I never gave a shit about nuclear, and I do take an interest now. But interestingly enough, like considering what I know about nuclear power and the dangers of it, I would still prefer to have nuclear reactors than go down this stupid, crazy route of wind turbines and solar, because it's much more destructive by the looks of it to me. So, it might sound fucking crazy, but maybe they should just go for some of those more smaller modular nuclear reactors instead of these overblown ones, these large ones. But I think the technology has improved over the years, so I think it's a lot safer. The problem has always been, like, what do you do with the waste? The waste has always been the main issue, like, and especially with accidents and stuff. But I think the safety record is not too bad. Like,
we've only ever had one. We've only ever had one real accident here, and that was Windscale, weren't it? Which is now Sellafield, isn't it? Sellafield. And I think I think that plant's closed down.
It is, yeah. You still got the nuclear waste holding pools. They're still there, and they were in very, very bad shape. So I don't know if anything has been done with that, So, but that's still the main danger around Sellafield is those holding tanks, So. Last I covered it, like about maybe 6 years ago, like the holding tanks were in a bit of a disarray, like they were crumbling. So I'm not sure if they've done any. I must check in with Sean sometime and see, because he'd be the go-to man. He can talk nuclear till the cows come home.
That's pretty good. Yeah. That would be handy. Because to have somebody who knows what they're talking about, because let's face it, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about anyway. I'm just talking from a point of view of somebody who can see the propagandist, the propaganda value of inventing or at least increase. What's the fucking word? Exaggerating. How bad things are or could be. I see it from that point of view, where I know nothing about the fucking science, and I'll openly admit that. I know absolutely fuck all about nuclear or anything, energy or anything. I know fundamentally how it works, but apart from that, I wouldn't. Mascara Snake says, I worked with a guy who was on a ship during national service at the Christmas Island bomb test. He ended up with all sorts of health issues and 2 different cancers. Mind you, he smoked like a chimney. Yeah, so Mascara Snake knows somebody that was on a ship during national service at the Christmas Island bomb. What a fucking thing to fancy fucking getting an island, calling it Christmas Island, and then nuking the bastard. Talk about fucking you get an island, don't you? You fucking island. What shall we call it? Oh, let's call it something nice. Christmas Island. Yeah, fucking great. Let's nuke the fucking hour. Obviously had a bad Christmas at some point.
Rudolph didn't come. Probably Santa forgot to come that year. Anyway. And
Uh,
I always think about that story of the poor women who were working on the dials for the airplanes back during the war. Can't remember what they had a special name for the girls who worked on. They used to paint the luminous paint onto the dials, which
all
of
right,
course, as
okay.
you know, is the byproduct of nuclear. Some one of the nuclear components, one of the radioactive component. I can't remember the particular isotope that's in it, like, but they'd be there all
You
day,
can't
like,
remember the
and they
particular. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. You can't
can't be
remember
there.
the particular fucking isotope. I can't remember any isotopes. None
Isotope, yeah. But
whatsoever.
anyway, the paint is obviously it's nuclear. The paint is
Yeah.
nuclear. They'd be there
Nuclear
all day.
paint.
They'd be doing this with the paintbrushes and doing a bit of painting onto the dials, letting
Right.
it go like that. The poor women, like, they ended up with the most horrendous mouth cancers and throat cancers and stuff. It was like you can actually look it up, like it's there online. The pictures of the women that got brutalized by that paint. So if you have any doubts about how dangerous some of these compounds are, you need to do a bit more research, I think, anyway. But I'm not, I can't tell people what to do, though. It's like, it's a very complex topic, and very, very complex. And I've studied it for a good few years, and I still only know squat about it.
Ruthless Gangbuster has said that's a terrible story, by the way. That of a fucking that's an horrible story. But this is our science is supposed to help us by learning from things like that, innit? Fucking
Yeah, yeah.
but it don't, does it? No. Ruthless Gangbuster says at Raconteurs News, Jason, you need to get Francis R. Connolly back on straight away. He should be doing more interviews right now, considering what's going on. I think that might be Francis Richard Connolly there, who's put that quote in. So I'll drop him a line later on and see if he wants to come on. I think that's probably him.
What's that about, Jay?
Francis Richard Connolly did 9/11 to JFK to 9/11. Everything's a rich man's trick. He's been on. He's been on here a few times. I'll get in touch with him actually. Good shout. I will. I'll get in touch with him and see if he's available. See what he's up to. I've not seen or heard from him for a while. I hope he's all right.
Trump was at a golfing tournament there about 2 weeks ago. I think it was in New York State, and he was interviewed at the tournament, and he was going on like he brought up the topic of 9/11 one more time. He says, basically, what he says in a nutshell is this: like, we never got to the bottom of 9/11, did we? And here he is. He's at the because the Saudis got the blame for a lot of that, like, and he's there and he's acting buddy with the Saudis, right? And he's saying the Saudis are our friends here, and I think he's hinting that, like, I think that's a hint that, like, he's got some information about what really went down on 9/11, and that possibly it wasn't anything got to do with the Saudis at all, because the way he was talking about the Saudis was like the Saudis are very, very highly invested in America. They're our friends. So is he hinting at Israel, being involved? Who knows? Who knows? But it was strange timing that he would bring it up at this particular time. He's not going to forget about 9/11, and he's letting the oligarchs over in the States know that, like, this is not going away, because you had those raids on Mar-a-Lago. There's something going on with these raids in Mar-a-Lago as well, and it's all based around what's been going on with the nuclear deal as well with Iran, and something got to do with Obama. Is this what's going on with that Mar-a-Lago raid? It's like very, very strange happenings in the States at the moment. Like, you got a witch hunt going on at the moment. I think you've had something like 50 people raided who are connected to Trump. You had Steve Bannon also. He was he had to surrender to the cops in DC there. I think about a week ago on charges of something got to do with money laundering or something like that. Kind of interesting, like. But he's saying this fight's just started, But there's obviously there's something crazy going on in the States, like, because there seems to be sort of like an attack going on the MAGA crew, right? They're they're going after the MAGA crew 100%. Like, and it's kind of crazy to watch it, like, it's when you look at what's going on in the States, it's hard to see anything other than there's an internal war going on there right at the moment. Like it's not on full view, like it's not declared as a war, but it just it's hard to see it any other way. Like a hostile takeover of the United States is in progress right at the moment.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, we just had 9/11 go past, haven't we? I mean, what do you think? What could be possibly, because the Americans are going to use this Queen's death because they know that America's going to have its eyes over there. With the Middle America, the people that are in the fucking dark. Are they? What are they potentially burying this time? Because they're going to be looking to bury stuff because they buried they lost $2 trillion or something. $2 trillion from on the
3
September
trillion.
10th, 2001. 3 trillion, right?
Yeah, nearly
lost,
short of 3 trillion. Yeah.
When I remember because Blair were in power, weren't it? I remember someone in the Blair government getting done for sending a memo around saying today would be a good day to bury some bad news. So we know what doing it. So what's the bad news they're fucking burying on? Nah.
Yeah. And then wasn't there also Catherine Austin Fitz and Mark Skidmore? They actually located something like 21 trillion missing. Also, it's hard to look at all these cases in isolation. Apparently, there's 21 trillion missing as well, on top of the 3 trillion. So, yeah, I'll tell you what. There's something stinks about 9/11. Like, if you listen to Brendan O'Connell, he reckons like the towers were supposed to come down about 10 years earlier. When was the first? Remember the first bomb that went off in the basement?
1993.
93, yeah, that's right. He was thinking that it's his contention that like those towers were supposed to come down 10 years earlier, so that
yeah, they were. Well, there was the CIA, the CIA or the FBI got found plotting with the guy who done it, and they were caught. They were actually caught, and what he'd filmed them paying him to do this thing, and what he did is what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to park the bomb next to the central columns, right? In the garage underneath, and he didn't. He parked it too far away because what they wanted to do is tip one onto the other one. That was the initial plan, was to tip one onto the other one. Now, what would be interesting is to have, if you could go back and have a look and see what percentage the occupancy was at that day. Because on 9/11, it were about 30% occupied on a Tuesday fucking morning in September, like 10 to 9. We're only like 30% fucking occupied. So it'd be interesting to go back to see if there's any data on how many people were in 93. But yeah, they certainly tried to do it once. But you see, it got asbestos in it. That was the reason it needed stripping out and completely doing, because it had got asbestos in it. And that's the reason why those towers were picked. Well, apart from the symbolism and all the other things, but they needed to be. That's why Larry Silverstein, we're happy to let him go. He got double money, double bubble.
Silverstein, that's another guy. That Brendan O'Connell is going about an awful lot. Silverstein, he's got
Larry Silverstein,
and he's got huge connections to Russia. That fella, in fact, also China. Like he pops up everywhere, So that's another.
Right. Well, yeah, Larry Silverstein. He was the guy that said that fucking demolished it, pull it.
Yeah, so it was multifaceted then, that operation, and probably like the fact that there was asbestos in it was probably just a side effect, because the main thing was probably the symbolic thing, and to get America into this 20-year war where they would take out Libya, Syria, Iraq, Iran, the whole shebang. They had a huge long plan, and it looks like that plan has failed for the most part. So, is there some sort of a pushback in America? Are the managerial class actually fighting back, and they've said, right, this is not going the way we fucking want it, and we're taking our power back? Obviously, like, America's compromised, badly compromised.
Yeah. Fucking terribly compromised. You know what? It's amazing. I've just been having a look on YouTube, and I can't see a video where Larry Silverstein saying "pull it." Now, that's a famous clip. If you've not seen that, find an old 9/11 film and watch it, where Larry Silverstein is talking after the event in an interview, and he said, there'd been so much loss of life on the day, we decided to pull it. So we decided to pull it, and then the building fell. And pull it is a term for controlled demolition. So, you know, there's all this. It's like being erased from internet. You need to keep hold of all your old 9/11 stuff. Get them on media that you know you're going to be able to use in whatever. But you know that can't be wiped, can't be stuck to to combat, because they can get remotely into anywhere and clear fucking out nowadays because everything's connected. So I've telling you,
if I was to find that,
fucking old 9/11 films have gone. I know they have. That I've got on my hard drive. I know they've gone, and they should be on there.
Do you reckon it's been hoovered up like while they were plugged into the internet? And
yeah, probably. Probably.
Yeah.
It's easy enough to do. It's easy.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's so easy to do. Like everything's been backdoored, and it's been backdoored, compromised via Israel, because like Microsoft is an Israeli company. Contrary to popular belief that it's an American company. No, it's not. It's actually Israeli. It's based in Israel now. All the chips, the Intel chips, have all been backdoored. They don't even need to hack your computer. They can just access it on the chip level these days with just an extra code. I've seen it done like on a video once, how simple it is. It would just boggle your mind how easy it is to. You don't need to hack a computer anymore. You don't. It's not necessary.
No. Tony's put straight on 93 bombings. There were 50,000 in the complex and 40,000 in the Twin Towers. See, that would have been a much greater death toll than 9/11, because they were less than. I held 50,000 in it, so that's like 80% capacity. That is Twin Towers. So
and then Building 7 came down because of a fire. It's like, what? Excuse me? A fire brought that down like that? No, I don't think so.
And there's clues everywhere, right? I went through a stage where I was reading fucking obscure fucking books. I remember going into a bookshop in Rod. This was back in days, so it was like 2003 or 4 or whatever. And I said, I went in and I said, have you got a copy of Al Franken, Lies and the Lying Liars that tell Lies and the Lying Liars that tell them. That tell them? And he fucking looked at me all gone out, and he says, and he looked at it, and when he looked on his computer, it was a book. So he ordered it, man. I went and fucking picked it up. Now on that, he talks about at the beginning how everything that he says is true or it's a joke, but sometimes there are things that are true that's disguised as a joke, what he calls joking on the square, right? And then about a bit into the book, he says, I think this is in Lies and the it is. It's Lies and the Lying Lies that tell them. He says, I had an office in the North Tower of the World Trade Center, but on the whatever day of a Jewish festival, he said, I was told not to go in, so I didn't go in. Or somebody told me not to go in on this certain day, and so I didn't go in. And of course, that was the day. And I thought to myself, right, it's either lying or it's either true or it's a joke. Or is it joking on the square? So he's sort of telling us, because I mean, why even fucking mention that? Unless you're just trying to, even if you just, unless you just, he's a comedian. I know he's a comedian, but he's supposed to be anyway, comedy writer. But I just thought it were interesting.
Yeah. I've heard that too. That come from multiple sources. That like loads of people didn't actually go in on the day. So clearly, like people knew not to go in, because it's inconceivable that people wouldn't be there. Like that building would probably be working from early in the morning, probably like from maybe 7, because you know what it's like over in the States. Like people start work early, like at 7, 8 in the morning, like you'd be working. So inconceivable that like the building would be empty at that hour. Like what time did the planes hit? Like if whether or not you believe the plane hit or not,
8:45.
8:45.
8:45. Yeah.
Yeah,
So 8:45 and something like 9:03 or something like that. That's the first one with North Tower, weren't it? And then South Tower got hit first, but South Tower was the first one to collapse.
yeah, yeah.
Complete note. And then, of course, there were the Nordé brothers as well that were there and that were able to catch the only known footage of the North Tower, even though President Bush did say in a speech that he saw the first plane hit live on TV. He said that at a speech when we're talking to some kids. And even though nobody had seen it live on TV, nobody saw the first one.
Unless there was some private cameras on the scene, like already in place for the
Nordé
event.
brothers were there, weren't they? The Nordé brothers were there, but that didn't come out until the Nordé brothers footage didn't come out until after he'd said that. So he'd said he'd seen it live on the television, and he said, "I saw that." I thought, well, that's a terrible pilot.
Yeah, weren't some of there were some Israelis caught too, like they were caught with
dancing
explosives.
Israelis.
Yeah, they were actually set up like with video and everything on top of a building, filming as well too. I think as the
They
events
got a van. They were next to a van. They were next to a van, and they were dancing, and they went on Israeli television afterwards because they got arrested. They were arrested, but then they were just deported. Right? They went on Israeli TV afterwards, and they said, these are their words: "We were there to document the event." That's what they said on Israeli television on the chat show. You can find it on internet. Go and have a look. It's probably on BitChute or some other ones, but go and have a look. The Dance Israeli, they are interviewed on television. All of them are there, and they said we were there to document the event. I mean, fucking hell, Jesus Christ! What were we doing? Building 7.
And who are these Israelis, by the way? Who are the Israelis?
I don't know who they were. They were just Israeli. They were Israelis. I was probably Mossad or some fucking.
Well, I have it on from a reliable source that will say that like most Israelis, ones that are connected to the higher ups, are actually Russian.
Yeah, of course they are. Fucking hell, Jesus Christ. Fucking Abramovich for a start. Oh, fuck at Roman Abramovich, fuck's sake. I mean, the guy's virtually Israeli. He's got dual Israeli Russian citizenship.
Yeah. A lot of these people, like I know I'd be talking about the how the Israelis are hacking everybody's computers and they're robbing all your cryptos and they're doing all sorts of crazy things. But a lot of the high tech people who work for these Israeli companies are imports from Russia, like highly skilled Russian GRU, sort of like well-trained people. And like a lot of people like to say, like it's the JEWS. No, it's not. Like the Israeli establishment is not JEWS at all. Like they're all sort of like brought in. They're mostly Russian. So do you know what? And that's why I don't want to see Russia take. That's why I don't want to see Russia take Ukraine, or maybe part of it. Take Donbass, take Lugansk, but stop there. Let's and I think this is what's going to happen, because I'm worried that like if Russia do take the whole of Ukraine, we'll know that like that's going to be part of the greater Israel that's planned, because greater Israel was meant to encompass all of Ukraine and sort of like build up that block there. That's going to be the central piece in the jigsaw to the building of greater Israel and the Mackinder World Island and the establishment of this greater block, this great Eastern bloc, which is going to rule the world. And I don't think we want that. And I know there's some evil bastards here in the West, and they need to be cleared out, because parts of them are probably working for this Israeli-Russian sort of arm of our side of things, but they need to be cleared out. NATO needs to be reformed. America needs to be reformed. The EU needs to be reformed, and probably Great Britain needs to be reformed as well too. So we'll just have to wait and see where this is going. It's fascinating watching all this play out before our eyes, and we're living through historic times here to witness the events. As the dancing Israelis were there to witness the events of 9/11, we're here to witness the Great Reset.
The greatest reset.
Yeah, absolutely. Bring on the fear porn. Let's
Bring it
doom
on.
ourselves.
We are the fear. We are the doom merchants of doom. Fucking! Did you see in Telegram group? I want to find that picture. I don't know if you can fucking upload it. But did you see that picture I put in Telegram group? I can't do it on this. That lesbian uni that I put up.
Oh God! Yeah. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah, that's. I actually shut Telegram down. I can't do it, but at the moment because my resources are. I didn't reboot this computer for a while, so everything's running really slow with Telegram open. So.
Right, sorry, I'll do it on other one. I'll do it on other one. I'll send it to other one. We've got to show this. I saw while I were away. I saw lesbian uni, and it's quite a sight, quite a shocking sight, really.
Did you not show that? Did you not show that 2 weeks ago? Oh no! That was Uni was caught running naked in the park, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Julio, weren't it?
That was funny. I thought he lost a bit of weight in that one. We're terrible. Huh? We're terrible picking on poor Uni like this.
He deserves it, doesn't he? No, I've sent it to me, said I've emailed it to me, said then I'm going to put it on this computer because this computer's got fuck all else on it apart from StreamYard, so I don't get no fucking shit on it. And then this one up here's got I can get on StreamYard and I can get on that. So and it's
I should have rebooted my computer earlier on this evening, Jay, because I noticed it was seriously lagging here in the StreamYard for some strange reason. So I shut down Telegram and then it kind of improved things. So I'll leave it off for till the end of the show anyway, at least.
Nice. Well, let's see if it's sent. Fucking, I tell you what, these fucking iPhones are wank. I know. Please don't fucking have a go at me. I know they're wank. I know they were wank.
So Uni is saying, you guys may treat me like a joke, but at least I do go around saying there was no planes. At least I do go around saying there was no planes on 9/11. I assume Uni is saying that he doesn't go around saying. I don't. Yeah, he says. Thanks for clarifying that, Uni. He said, "No, we don't treat you as a joke, but we're just piss takers. You know, at heart we're just piss takers, and we're just messing. And you need to know, and you know, I love you like a fucking brother here, or a sister, or whatever you identify as now. You know.
Come on then, Robert. Get your set up. Oh, there he is. Hey. Oh, I've done all that fucking about, and Robert's done it for me. Thank you very much, mate. There you go. That's lesbian Uni.
This is what we do be doing in Telegram, Uni. So we do be up to no good in Telegram.
Brilliant.
I had to show it.
Lesbian Uni. That's when I was playing bingo.
You'll get into trouble, Jason.
Oh, and I'm always in fucking trouble. Trouble's my middle name. How are you doing anyway, Dr. Robert?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah.
You're not doing a show for us tomorrow, are you?
No, I'm busy tomorrow, but I will be back. I'll do it next. Are you doing Friday, Jason?
I'm not doing Friday, no.
All right, I'll do Friday. I can do Friday with Jimmy. I'll just annoy him in the sidelines. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. That's fine.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome to come and annoy me.
I'll be here as well, so we won't get any.
Right. Oh yeah, the last night was a bit jittery, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't do too bad. We didn't do too bad. We sort of like
good show tonight. By the way, it's good show tonight. Good chat. What I was going to say. Did you want to discuss what we're the plans going forward, how we're going to try and move to a different platform and stuff?
Yeah, well, I'm going to get the URL. I'll do that tomorrow. Jimmy, you're going along with trying to get server on, aren't you?
Well, I have update on that. The server is up and running. It's it took me a good few days just to get that a little bit sorted. So I have, because I had to destroy the old server basically because it was just too old. So I have a brand new updated modern server, and I have the web server set up, like it's already sort of like posting a page to the world. And I'm in the background, I'm actually working on kind of like ideas for web pages. So I'll just give you a little idea of like what I'm thinking about doing. So just bear with me just a moment, and I'll see if I can sort of like give you an idea of what I was thinking about. But I'm just not over happy with the template, right? I think I'm just going to change the template a little bit. Oh God, where has it gone? Here we go. Here. So I'm thinking about something like a one page, just a one page hit wonder like this, just with all like I'm still working on this. I'm still working on this. Is not like going to be the site, but this is just the first bit here. Welcome to Raconteurs News, just something like that. Like I'm just messing around with the template here at the moment. I've got nothing set in stone, but because I think I'm going to change to a different template basically. But
what's the web address, Jimmy?
It's not.
They haven't got one yet, has it? Because I'm going to buy one tomorrow. I'll get one tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, but listen, we can operate without a web address anyway, even if there's no hurry, like but it's not going to be a friendly address. Like I could give you, but basically the page is not online just yet. Like, but basically the server is online, and the web server itself is up and functioning. So, and it's ready for operation. So all that's needed now is a domain name, and it's good to go.
Cool, and that's the idea. That's going to be the idea, is to have his own place where we can stream ourselves, so that you know where to come. We'll still do YouTube while ever they'll fucking. In fact, we won't. We'll probably end up phasing YouTube out, and then hopefully that will all stay there as an archive. But
well, I hope you don't. I hope you don't face YouTube out, because YouTube is actually an excellent resource of sort of like people like who kind of like might actually need a site like this. So we might be able to work with YouTube, and maybe only do half the show on YouTube. Possibly we were talking about this actually, like maybe we just do the first hour on YouTube, and then when we want to talk about some serious topics, we take the gloves off, and then we fuck off over to Rumble. So I don't know how everybody's going to feel about having to move mid-show, like, but it should be fun.
Yeah, if you just explain as well, Jimmy, wasn't it? If we get 100 subscribers on Rumble, then we get to broadcast free, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So we're going to need everybody to sort of like take an interest, and so when Jay gets around to posting the link, we need 100 people to subscribe, and then we can sort of like forego the $10 a month fee on Rumble for broadcasting live.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't want to have to keep like, watching our language and what we say, and that was the whole idea that we discussed as a group of 3 people. That we're fed up having to like think, oh my God, if I say this, I might get another ban. And if you just explain to people, Jason, what the ban meant, in terms of if we get 2 bans and then.
If we get another strike, if we get another, I've got 90 days now from that ban. So if 7's gone, or whatever, how many 10s or whatever's gone.
Yeah.
And we've got 80 days. And if we get another strike in that 80 days, we'll get a 2-week ban. And then if the 90 days would start again, if we got another one, then it gets deleted completely.
Yeah. The whole
fucking channel, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but we'll take action before that happens. Like if we do manage to get a score,
you want us to pay you to talk shit about the news? Best of luck with that. We don't want you to pay fuck all.
No.
It won't cost anything to join. It'll be this is not what this is about.
No.
This
And
is
that
just about
Robert-
moving what we've got now.
Robert-
We're not trying to make big.
Okay.
We're not trying to do anything.
No.
Right? I'll
We're
be
just
able
trying to find a platform where we can say what we want,
exactly.
because
Yeah.
it's just getting more and more difficult.
Obviously, Sean missed the little bit that we said, like where if we can get 100 subscribers on YouTube, we can then stream to Rumble, to the new Rumble site. We can then stream for free to Rumble. You know,
Yeah, and
so
we can do that anyway at the same time as YouTube.
Yeah. So it's not about money at all. I don't want money. You know. Fucking
Yes,
hell.
Kevin Street, we got done for medical misinformation.
And we didn't, did we, Robert?
No, it wasn't me.
It weren't us.
And to be honest, the reason the only reason that we got picked up the ban was
Because
because
you quoted that nurse. That's all.
Because I was covering that nurse I was covering a topic about him getting a ban for talking about medical misinformation, and I got a ban for covering it. So it was crazy, man, fucking crazy. But have you been watching John Campbell? I've been watching John Campbell this last 2 weeks. He's seriously red-pilled now, absolutely red-pilled.
Oh, is he?
His last 2 or 3 videos, the gloves are coming off. As far as watch him. I'll send you over a couple of links to a few important shows, Robert, and watch how he's dancing. Watch how he's dancing around the YouTube censorship. It's quite interesting what he's doing, and he's doing a good job, and in kind of a funny way. And it's because he's got like 2.4 million subscribers. If he can make up 2.4 of his subscribers, and that's what he's doing at the moment, and it's all around the efficacy of the you-know-what, and also about the excess you-know-whats, right? So it's fascinating watching him work now. So I'm going to be paying close attention and taking notes and trying to learn how he's fucking doing it.
There you go. No planes. Tell us why there were no planes, Uni.
I mean, do you want me to go on to a rant about that?
Go on. Come on, get on. No, why were there no planes? Tell us now. Go.
I'm going to need a whole show to talk about that because...
No. That's excuses. Talk for as long as you've got. Go. You've got to sell it to me. You've got to tell me. I've got. If you say, I need an whole show, I'm going to be disinterested. I'm not going to tune into your show. Tell me now. Why were there no planes?
Okay. So let's debunk the whole CGI argument. First of all, if there was CGI on 9/11, first of all, why did so many people in New York see planes? Second of all, how could you add the footage after the fact when you literally see footage of people zooming the camera in on the plane and following the plane going into the tower? That's not CGI.
Okay.
And that's first of all. Second of all, as for the hologram theory, the problem with holograms is that, number one, there's no proof that they had any such technology on 9/11, and even if they did, they would need all forms of projectors all around every single side of both of those towers, and also on top of that, they would also have to be able to get each of the shots perfectly aligned to be able to make the holograms work. And when there was just so many different angles, so many different cameras going in on 9/11, it doesn't make any sense. It's completely unrealistic.
Hang on, Taylor, are you saying there weren't planes?
I'm saying that there were planes, absolutely. The planes
Why are you saying here in your link there were no planes? You're saying here in your name, look, brah, there were no planes.
It's a sarcastic joke.
Oh, I see. You're being facetious.
Essentially, yeah, because I'm sick and tired of people constantly selling that Alex Jones freaking what's her name's line over and over again. That
so
even though
I saw a video the other day that I've never seen before of footage where the second explosion happened and no plane appeared.
Yes. Which there's a lot of okay. You're talking about building. You're talking about Tower 2, right? 175.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I saw video footage, and I'd never seen it before, and it was in a Telegram channel, and it just literally exploded. No plane hit it,
You'll have
saw
to
it.
send me the footage on like an email or something like that. I'm, as I said before, Telegram is not cooperating with me. It won't let me go on there. But as for this whole issue about planes, I have literally done 2 entire shows on my channel talking about this.
2 shows, man. Never 2 shows. Listen, right? I don't know whether they were planes or not, right? But I'm sort of like siding with your argument. I think your side's got more, probably, you know, especially the people that say they saw planes, you know. But even though there's that woman that says that's not American Airlines, and like, you know, you know, there's obviously a plane there. They can see planes, so I think it probably is. We're planes. I mean,
here's the thing.
You see, right? What happens is some new technology comes out, and then people see how it could be done. Because in 2001, it weren't like it is today.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. It weren't nowhere near like it is today. So what fucking the people that did the no planes theory were talking about was they were talking about the CGI was actually done live, right? Right. So what they're doing is they're doing the CGI live. So they've got the CGI going live, or there's a couple of seconds delay or whatever, and then you see the plane, then you see the explosion, and that's fanciful for now, rather than 2001. For fuck's sake!
Especially since if there was if there was CGI. Why would there? How can you? That is unrealistic as hell. You'd have to have literally every single person in Lower Manhattan in on it, and on top of that, again, like I said, you have extra like amateur footage of people flashing on the plane and following the plane into the tower, and on top of that, there's even reflections of the plane on things like windows. Like there's a piece of footage of 175. Reflected off of the front hood of a man's car as he looks up and when the explosion happens.
Uni, have you ever seen a bird hit the front of a plane?
Yeah, I know you're talking about the flight in New York that almost went down.
Who wins? Who wins when the bird hits a plane?
Yeah, I know about that. Here's the thing. Here's the problem with that argument.
Bird wins, doesn't it? Because it wins.
Here's the problem with the.
It's just coming out of fate with a fucking plane, man.
It smashes the fucking front of that plane. You're telling me that a fucking building wouldn't just crumple that fucking plane up to
but they're designed to do that, though. The noses on planes.
And also, one more thing. Here's my point. What about all the pilots who say you can't produce that sort of a trajectory into a building?
Okay, well, first of all, let me just go ahead and talk about the whole, the planes couldn't do that because of the material that they were made out of compared to the building. Here's the thing. When you have a tennis racket and you have a tennis ball, obviously, normally the ball is not going to go through the racket. Yeah, obviously, normally the ball is not going to go through the racket.
You have tennis shoes. You have tennis socks. You have
this is exactly what I can't fucking explain.
You have tennis strings.
Seriously.
You have tennis fucking gloves. Listen, we're not arguing with you. I don't rate. So are you saying that there were planes at the Pentagon as well?
Absolutely, yes.
And so you think that were a plane?
No,
right, just no, because that is less like I can get planes. Saying that the fucking I can get that there's planes that went into World Trade Center, right? Okay, that's a pretty easy shot, even for a remote control. In fact, it's for remote control, it'd be pinpoint. Okay, it'd be able to pinpoint even back then they had these fucking things that could pinpoint targets, and you just put one on a plane instead of a fucking missile, and you'll be able to fly. I get that, right? I get that. But the Pentagon is a fucking completely different kettle of fish.
Have you seen
the hole that was left?
Yes.
So where the fucking plane? Where did wings go?
Here's the thing about the Pentagon.
No, answer the question, Taylor. Where did the rest of the body of the plane go? And why was there no footage of the plane with all those cameras around?
There is footage of the plane.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is. You know the famous footage, the one of the one that everyone says doesn't prove that there was a plane that hit the Pentagon. You know, the one in the parking lot.
Yeah, little dot like that, which looks like a missile. The front of it.
Yeah. Did you have you seen the work of what's his face, the one who actually went and went through the footage and actually used technology to prove that the actual plane is in that footage? You can
No.
actually you can clearly see the plane in that footage.
You can't, Uni, you can't. Listen, this is fucking stupid, right? Look, you're clutching at straws. I can get that there were planes at World Trade Center. I can get that. I can get on board with that, right? I don't know whether they were or whether they weren't. I can see arguments on both sides. I think probably the fact that people saw them and you can see that they saw them and you can hear that they saw them says to me there were planes there, right? The Pentagon is a completely different thing. What you're saying, right, is you're saying it's like saying I can fucking prove I can prove with mathematics that a fucking an elephant can hang over a cliff with its tail tied to a fucking daisy and hang there, right? And I can prove that mathematically. That's what that guy's done, right? But you just use your common sense. It were a fucking missile. That's what it was. It was a missile. You can see.
Taylor's trying to find the plane now. He's trying to find it. I can tell. Look.
Yeah.
Still looking for
it.
I tell you what, I've been reviewing the structure of the World Trade Centers, right, and how they were built. And if you look at the feat of marvel that went into the columns and the number of columns that went into the construction of that building, the idea that an airplane could penetrate through those columns is just you need your head examined. You know, it's not possible. Like, aluminum is not going to penetrate through those columns. Something would be left. There would be evidence of an engine on the ground. There'd be two engines on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, the rest of the plane might be gone, but you'd find the fucking engines because they would not go inside there. The engines would be outside there somewhere. You know, no chance. It's like those buildings were built to last. Like, you know, they were massive. Like the amount of concrete that went into building the columns, the inner support columns on those buildings were just nuts. Were built like a house of cards. Like all these crazy columns that went into the building of those, and they all sort of like came up to a big apex. Like, you know, column after column after column. There's no way a plane got through those columns. Not a chance. No. A missile, maybe, yeah. A missile, maybe, would have found a way through it. Like, you know, if it didn't go directly into a column, like, it probably would have got through into the center. But a missile wouldn't have brought the buildings down like that either, you know. So no fire would have brought it down.
Right, let's now move this along, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So just tell us, enlighten us. Excuse me, Uni. So these planes, right? We'll concede the planes go in there. So now, what happens? Is that the reason why the building fell?
No. The planes are not the reason the building fell.
Okay, so the planes went in there and they were a decoy, right? So they could just blow it all.
Yes.
Okay.
Here's the thing about the material argument about the whole the plane's material and the Twin Towers materials. You know, it would crumble the plane. Here's the problem with that argument: when you have something that is of weak material, if it has enough speed, velocity, and gravity behind its side, it can pierce through a stronger object. As I was saying with the tennis racket argument, if a tennis ball is thrown hard enough, it can go through the racket, even if it's made of a much stronger substance. And it's the same thing for the Twin Towers. If something is going fast enough,
you can get a water fucking cutter, something that cuts steel, that fires water. So that's
exactly
there. That shows you that. Yeah. Look, I've always said that argument don't hang fire. But I think what Jimmy's trying to say is the plane wouldn't. If the planes went in, they'd penetrate the building, but they wouldn't penetrate the central columns, which is what they claim happened, right? They wouldn't have penetrated the central columns because the kinetic energy that would have been lost by impacting on the building, by the time the remains of the plane got to the center, there wouldn't be as much kinetic energy left to harm those center columns. So
But
I
the
think
columns,
you're getting
but the columns weren't just in the centre. The columns were sort of like space.
But they
wasn't just
will go
one
through
main
the
column.
outside if there's enough kinetic energy. Something will go through. You can like a fucking piece of straw in a hurricane will go into a tree, into the bark. Right,
Exactly.
It will go in, even though it will go in as long as there's enough kinetic energy.
Yep.
Enough
And look
force.
how fast Flight United 175 was going. Which, by the way, if anyone wants to
How do we know how fast it will go in?
Here's the thing: if anyone wants to doubt the authenticity of the planes and them being able to make those maneuvers and go that fast, look at Flight 771.
Amateur pilots, amateur pilots that had how many hours flying?
And where have we heard about the whole amateur?
No. How many hours training and flying had they had?
Again.
No, you're not answering this question.
No.
How many hours training and flying had amateur pilots that took over the plane and flew it at a trajectory that master pilots that have been doing it for years, right, said was impossible? How many hours had they had, Uni?
You're not.
No, I can't tell you. Less than 20.
I think the point. I think Robert, what the point is, Uni's trying to make, right, is that not necessarily them that did it, but it was that if there were certainly planes that did it. You know, there were planes that did it. I don't think you're not saying that these actual terrorists did this, are you?
What the so-called
the ones that the ones that were in the official story.
Yes and
no.
What do you mean yes and no? They either fucking didn't or they didn't.
Some of them were, and
some of them were. And what were others? What were others then?
For example, one of the hijackers on Flight 93, his brother was a high-ranking Mossad agent.
Okay,
what I'm trying to say,
Robert, right. Whenever he's talking in future, I want you to put that fucking picture up. Right, carry on.
See, this is exactly my point, is that you guys don't take anything I say seriously. And if
we are taking it seriously. No, listen, we're taking it seriously.
I've given you guys plenty of stuff to look at to support my arguments, but you guys don't bother looking at it. And that's my problem.
Listen, if that's your problem, you've got fucking bigger problems than that, mate. Look, we're just having a fucking Josh with you. We're talking about 9/11. I've seen it all, right? I've seen every argument. I've seen it all. All I'm saying is it's just a pointless argument because we're never going to get right to the very bottom of it because that's what it wasn't designed for us to do that. We'll never get to the bottom of it. No, nobody's ever going to get to the bottom of it. It's interesting, but don't get so wound up in it and so caught up in it that it's like, you know, I mean, you're going beetroot red. And listen, I get that they were planes, okay? I get it. I get if you want to say they were planes, they were planes. I don't know. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Is fundamentally we don't know because we weren't there. So we're arguing about.
I also want to just point this out that everyone always loves to go on and on about the Silverstein stuff, the Rudy Giuliani stuff. No one ever seems to go look back at the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, which was basically part 1 to 9/11.
Believe me, many people have. It's just that stuff's been deleted from the internet. It really has. There's been so many videos. Have you ever seen one, a 9/11, Everybody's Got to Learn Sometime? Have you not seen?
Yes.
Have you never seen that? Have you seen that? Brilliant fucking film. You don't find it anywhere now.
I mean, I've even seen an 18-hour long 9/11 documentary, an 18-hour long.
Yeah, right. That means honestly, that's not healthy. That really isn't healthy. I think
I didn't watch the whole thing at once. Don't get me wrong. It took me a while to watch it all, but was it you, Jimmy, who was talking before about the guy about the army officer who can't stand the short attention spans of people from nowadays?
People have got short attention spans.
Yeah, but it's basically what
I've just addressed this. Raconteurs News. How can aluminium pierce through steel buildings? No debris fall down or engine. I've just been saying that about kinetic energy. Nobody listening now about water guns and water cutters and stuff like that.
Exactly. I don't understand why people keep making that argument of, oh, this weaker substance can't go through this stronger substance. It's common sense. If you have enough.
Right, anyway, listen, I think I'm gonna wrap this up. So anyway, you boys are on Friday. We've talked a bit about 9/11. You've got your fucking knickers in a twist.
No, I'm chilling. I would just like if you guys would actually, care enough to pay to look at the stuff that
listen, we've done all that caring. You're talking to some old geekers, but you know what I mean. Talking to 3 old geekers, we've done all this caring and all this getting wound up about it, and all this, we've done it all. So that's all it is. It's just we've done it all.
In fact, like we did a great job tonight, Shay, linking the 1993 attempted bombing, and we brought it back into the here and now, like what's going on in Ukraine. And I didn't even get on to the Iran nuclear deal tonight, which I might do on Friday evening. But anyway, it's all connected. But we did talk about Trump tonight, and we talked about how Trump went on about like how 9/11 was never really fully resolved, and like how he made that speech from a Saudi golf course where he was proclaiming the Saudis were our good friends and stuff like that. So come on, we've done we tried our best now to link it all up tonight in a concise as way as possible without wrecking people's heads, man. So
yeah. Anyway,
Well said, Jimmy.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Jim. Listen, them lads will be back on Friday. I'll be back next Tuesday for my sins. Thanks to Jimmy, thanks to Robert, and Yuli as well. You're always welcome here, man. Listen, this is a place of sanctuary. If you want to come and vent at us, man, you can vent at us. But just remember, we'll still be here. When you go off in a huff and start like throwing your socks about and everything.
And can I just say, well done, Taylor, for throwing a show last Tuesday in.
Yeah. Subscribe
to
Taylor's channel. Yeah,
everyone, please subscribe to Taylor's channel. Taylor, can you post it in the chat quickly before we disappear? And because he can always just run a show. He ran a 5-hour marathon last Tuesday.
Yeah, I was exhausted. I was mentally exhausted by the end of that.
And it was till 3 in the morning or something
whenever you guys
like that.
need it, because I know you guys were not able to post a show. I was gonna have one on the day the Queen died. It was a Thursday or Friday, but StreamYard wasn't cooperating with me. It kept on kicking me out. Yeah, Paula was there, and I think Tony was there as well. Like I kept on getting kicked out of the StreamYard, so I just decided to say fuck it and just wait till Tuesday because it just was so bad. It was lagging so badly.
That's because you've got the unpaid version. You see, Taylor.
Damn. Me being a cheapskate.
Not like Jason, he's got the Wonga version.
I got the cheapskate version.
Yeah, and big thank you to Super Leeds for fucking paying. He pays for this every year.
Yes.
And all the best to him tomorrow night. And if you can keep him, if you're a praying type, keep him in your prayers. Webby, if you're listening, I know you will. Get him in your prayers, mate. And I'll see you all next Tuesday. These boys are on Friday. You will be on whenever. You just sub to his channel, and when we're not on, he'll be on sometimes. Take it easy, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.